Hi, my name is Stephanie Rozene, and I run the ceramics program at ArtRage College and live in Onondaga, New York. And this is my piece, The Corrosive Use of Money in Politics. And this piece came from the last year of research that I've been pursuing, springing out of some research on presidential China. And as I researched about presidential China, I learned that all of presidential China prior to 1930 and the administration of Woodrow Wilson was all made in France. And so that took me a few years ago to France to do some research at the Sèvres National Porcelain Manufactory outside of Paris. And the types of ceramics that I was interested in were the really ornate stuff, sort of pre-revolutionary, Louis XVI, Louis XV, Marie Antoinette, those types of wares. And so I was really interested in the excess and the extravagance. But what I learned is that most of those works are no longer in France because they were sold off by revolutionaries following the French Revolution. And so almost all of them are now in England, actually. And so this last January, I traveled to London to pursue some research at the Victoria and Albert Museum, as well as the Royal Collection and the Wallace Collection. And there I was able to handle some of the source material, which for this piece comes from two services. The turquoise plates refer to a service made for Catherine the Great of Russia. And this was widely accepted, or is widely accepted, as one of the most extravagant services of China that Sèvres ever made. And then the blue pieces refer to a service that was made for Louis XVI, and it was called the Louis XVI service. And it was so excessive and extravagant that it was supposed to take 23 years to complete, and it was never completed because he lost his head. And so I was really interested in these two services, one because they had some correlation in terms of imagery that was used, but also that they were just so excessive and extravagant. And I wanted to use the China as a metaphor for contemporary politics and bring it back into sort of the disparity between wealth and the poorest in our nation. And so I started to think about what kinds of ways or things, how do we show how much wealth we have? And I think that in our contemporary society, we really show wealth with money, or perhaps gold in this case. And so these pieces have a lot of gold luster on them. They also have the symbol of the Great Seal of the United States, which is the eagle and the pyramid, which you'll also find on the back of the $1 bill. And embedded within those images are all sorts of symbolism about our country and nation. For instance, the band that goes across the shield on the eagle represents Congress. And so that's a great thing to sort of back up this whole project, because there are 270 plates on the wall, and that 270, that number is really important for me because it's the number of electoral votes needed to elect a president. The Electoral College is 538 votes, which is all of Congress, the House and the Senate, plus 3 for Washington, D.C. And so in this election year, when we're seeing billions of dollars spent on campaign funds, or we see congressmen and women benefiting from insider trading deals, and we start to see that disparity in wealth between the representatives who are meant to represent the populace becoming more wealthy and becoming out of touch with the middle class. And so this piece is really sort of meant to hone in on that, recognizing that there are not all Congress members are bad or evil or have participated in these corrosive waves, and so you'll see some pieces with less gold luster or less sort of patterning and decoration. And so the two types of China loosely reference the Democratic and the Republican parties, and I'm going to leave it to the viewer to decide who is who.